Hello, this is Maddox here with another edition of Animaniaugust. Today, we're going to be looking at Thanksgiving week 1993. The first segment of this, appropriately, is a Thanksgiving segment itself, Turkey Jerky. The Warner Bros. And the Warner sister, as Native Americans, are protecting their village against Miles Standish and their but they're especially protecting their pet turkey, who Miles Standish wants to eat for dinner. There's a lot of funny gags in here, including including two innuendos in this episode. Miles Standish asking the Warners to give him the bird, and Yakko saying, "We'd love to really, but the Fox censors won't allow it." And then Miles Standish saying, "Oh, I did love this hamster show. So I took him with me to bed every night, you know." Yakko probably says, "Good night, everybody." Overall, it's an excellent way to bring in Thanksgiving. Next up is Wild Blue Yonder, which is a parody of P.D. Eastman's iconic children's book, Are You My Mother? This parody involves a newly hatched bird trying to find his mom. But of course, because the Animaniacs, he ends up following a stealth pilot in the flying a Lockheed F-117 Nighthawk. Because why not? We'll later get a sequel later on in the Kids WB episodes, but that's a topic for another day. The real morality moral is don't eat with your mouth full. Moving on to our second episode, we get to a tree transition. The Warners get chased by Ralph out of a sewer hole. This obviously, I think, is supposed to be. It's kind of supposed to be a nod to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the fact that they're being chased out of a sewer hole. I don't know what the Warners are doing in a sewer. I mean, they're not turtles or anything, but I guess they probably didn't. But I guess that thought they could get away from Ralph D. Guard under there. But Ralph D. Guard is under there anyway, as he also chases up the sewer. Next is video review. This this is as a really, you need to really know your Looney Tunes to get the full appreciation for this one. Back during the Bob Clampett days of the specifically the color Merry Melodies. Heck, I think there were even a few black and white Merry Melodies of this variant. Where stuff comes to life. The most famous example being Bob Clampett's excellent book review, which is most notable for Daffy Duck appearing in a zoot suit, which of course was a popular attire for African Americans back in the 40s, but many people, of course, took it out of context, and that cartoon is now most well known for the entire JoJo Daffy meme, since JoJo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures wears a suit very similar to Daffy's zoot suit that he wore in book review. But anyway, on the disc, this modernizes it so that it's about videotapes. Yeah, videotapes are really modern nowadays, but this was 1993. There, there was references to several movies from popular in the time period. Often with gags, like Babe featuring Hello Nurse before Babe Ruth replaces her appropriately, Bugsy featuring Bugs Bunny instead of, well, Bugsy. Dot flirting with Mel Gibson again, with in the context of Lethal Weapon 2. And then there's also, and it's also notable because of course, being that this is a Steven Spielberg cartoon, there's of course a Jurassic Park parody chase scene in covers of Jaws, E.T., and of course everybody's there, and of course everybody's favorite Spielberg project. Well, it they seem to have forgotten to include Indiana Jones here. But anywho, Elm Street doesn't appear as a video cover, but Freddy Krueger does appear. Also, Spielberg also made Roger Rabbit, and that's also there. And this wasn't the first time they parodied Roger Rabbit, as Bad Bunny in the Tiny Toons pilot wore a dress similar to Jessica Rabbit in another later Tiny Toon in the Who Bought Bugs Bunny. One of the characters that appears as a cartoon character put on trial, it fittingly is Roger Rabbit. Although they couldn't call him that because of legal reasons, but it was obviously Roger Rabbit, alright. Anyway, when mice ruled the earth. In a parody of H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, they traveled back in time to prehistoric days so they could take over the world. This fails because the world turns into a bunch of pinkies, and Brain instantly regrets it because, well, sure, he's finally won, but at this cost? The second, another wheel of morality. The moral of the story out is actually Fox's idea, apparently, but the good news is that they want a free trip to Tahiti. There's also, and then we get to the Goodbye song, a parody of Carol Burnett's I'm So Glad We Had This Time Together, which is sung at the end of the Carol Burnett show. And now finally get to our final episode we're going to talk about today. We get an extended version of Newsreel of the Stars with an extended chase sequence. Another Dot's Poetry Corner with Mary Had a Little Lamb. Mobster Mash. Mobster Mash is a parody of The Godfather. Although the Goodfellas are restricted to a cameo, mind you, but this is just the Warners and the Warner sister talking to mobs. Honestly, it's what you expect. Mime time. The mime lifts an imaginary barbell and the anvil, of course, falls. Lake Titicaca. This is a song that was of course educational, but of course Yakko Wacko Dot really likes saying its name. This is probably the most surprising thing they got away with because of what the name sounds like. They only got away with it because it's the name of a real lake, but Flying's like, we really like saying its name. Yeah. Randy Beeman has Colton walk out with nothing but a towel and talk about how Randy Beeman's cat ate a piranha and became a piranha cat. And finally, Icebreakers. Rita and Runt, in their typical dramatic cartoon, Runt finds himself as Ross Perot's new sled dog. And, yeah. Obviously, instantly dated political reference out of the way, whatever. Good idea, bad idea. Good idea of drinking fresh milk from the carton, and bad idea drinking fresh milk out of the cow. Well, that's about all the time we have today. So, Goodbye, nurse.